Hey folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis and
Rivkah.
welcome to the show. Give us a shout out if you can hear us. Everything looks good on our end. Looks like the audio is working. I don't know about the internet. Internet's been a little wonky the last few days. Not very good internet. I think it's all the solar flares we've been having, and there's been a lot of them. So we will push through with the buffering and the pixelation and all that kind of stuff as much as we can. So I apologize for that, but there's just,
You got a few
we
5x5s.
got some 5x5s.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like we're coming through, but I cannot guarantee that it'll be a perfectly clear live stream. We're out in the country and we have satellite internet, and these solar flares and the CMEs that was spit out of the sun, well, they affect it. And I think that's what it is, but I could be wrong. Thank you, Brad. Yes, we did. We had a good Sabbath, and just it was a chillaxing kind of day, which I needed. This week, both of us.
We've been busy.
We've been busy. We had our meeting last weekend. You've heard me talk about that, and it's fun, but it is a big drain on us. We put a lot of work into it, and we're busy, and so it's a big drain. And usually we try to take like Monday and Tuesday kind of on easy, to recoup, because we're on our
It usually
feet.
takes us a couple of days.
Yeah, and
Like we hardly talk. Or,
yeah, we do like
I mean,
the basics that we have
what
to
we
do.
have to get done, but yeah, it's hard.
And this week it wasn't that way. It's just been like full steam ahead all week long. So we're tired. Anyways, I'm
sorry, I'm looking down because I promised a couple people I would let them know
yeah.
that I was doing a live when we were doing it, because a lot of you aren't getting notification, it seems.
Yep, that's true. So she lets people know personally. Now she can't do that with everyone. I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, "Oh, well,
I want to
notify
get
me."
notified.
Unfortunately, we can't do that with everyone. But we do try to pass that along to friends and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share it on Patreon, so the Patreon people know that we're doing a live stream. And we do have, I have a crazy theory. I know my audience, you're just not conspiracy theory kind of people. I know. We just we watch CNN or Fox News, and we just believe exactly what they tell us, right?
Only. We don't
Anyways,
deviate outside of those acceptable lines.
I have an alternative theory to what's going on, especially in regards to war and all this geopolitics maneuvering and all the stuff going on, and we might get into that here in a minute. Was looking at some, gold and silver. Someone asked if we buy gold and silver. It's kind of like guns. We lost them all in a boating accident. Oops. But depending, it depends on what your purpose of buying it is. And this is where I get a little bit of flack from people. If your purpose is to invest your money into a solid investment that's going to be there, then, there are things that you can do, certain gold and silver products to buy. If your goal is to buy gold and silver, primarily silver, as a currency when our currency collapses, and you can, use it to buy things with, then it's kind of different. And so in that aspect, junk silver, constitutional silver, American coins that were minted from 1964 and back, really, I think that will be perfect for that. And then if you're just wanting silver just to have silver rounds, which is the most economical way usually to buy silver. Silver's down right now a little bit. So if you're wanting to buy silver, it's probably a pretty good. Someone said they spent all their silver purchasing a nice new bridge. I know. We had all kinds of silver and gold and money, but it all went to Ukraine. So I don't know. We don't have any money anymore.
I thought it was our
Shalom,
oceanfront
PT.
property here.
Yeah, our oceanfront property here in Missouri. We have a really nice beach house here in the Ozarks. Which is better, silver rounds or bars? When you're doing rounds or bars, you're just only buying the metal, so I don't personally think that there's going to be a big difference. When you're buying silver eagles, you're buying a coin of the realm. It's minted money, and so it has a higher value. People, they're going to know that it's real for the most part, and in the same way with constitutional money. But with rounds and bars, it's just you're getting silver, and so I would just get the cheapest you can. Hey, read the Torah. Thank you very much, and absolutely need
That's
to read
his
the
name.
Torah. I know. Yeah, that's your screen name, and everyone should be.
Well, you just said, "Hey, read the Torah," like you're you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like,
see that.
That's his name.
Okay, your screen name is Read the Torah, and thank you very much. And we absolutely do need to be circling the wagons, folks. I said that months ago, and I remember when I made that video, I had I had some people that thought it was just a ridiculous concept. What do you mean circle the wagons? Well, it's not that time yet. Well, it is now, folks.
The Kabul store is called Shetler's.
Oh, someone asked that?
Or is it the silver store? I don't know. Are you asking about the silver store?
I can't remember the
Or
name of the silver. There is a coin shop in Kabul.
Did you say something about a store in Kabul just a minute
A
ago?
long time ago.
Okay.
But if you live here in the Ozarks, Kabul, Missouri has a coin shop, and he sells silver or metals, and he's a pretty good guy. I've done some business with him several times, so I can't think of the name. It's just on the main road there. It's kind of just down the road from the Casey's gas station. I know 99% of you right now have no clue what I'm talking about, but apparently there's someone in the chat that would, so that's what
Somebody
I'm telling
said,
them for.
what's the name of the store in Kabul?
Yeah, if you're talking about the silver store, I don't know the name. It's just a coin, just coins. I don't know.
Yeah, the silver store.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just a coin shop. It's right there on the main strip, just down the road, maybe 2 or 3 doors down from the Casey's General Store gas station. So, on the right-hand side. All right.
Dirty like the government stopping by.
That is your screen name. I like that. Dirty like the government. That's funny. Oh my goodness, folks.
Hey, that's like my shirt says. This is one I designed. Well, I mean, I had some help, inspiration. But
yes, this one's
says,
Grow Gardens, Not Government.
There we go.
Yep. That's one of our T-shirts. But anyways,
because government is big.
Yeah,
we want
exactly.
it small.
Yeah. Shetler's, there's someone. Oh yeah, that's our admin moderator is talking about Shetler's. And again, only local folks are going to have any clue what we're talking about. But there is a really cool store in our area. Actually, they have 3 stores. And most all the oak. I'm going to brag about our area. For those of you, I know there's probably hundreds that aren't here, that aren't in this area. But there's these 3 stores, all owned by a Mennonite family, and they sell bulk items. They sell discount grocery, and it's about the best deal. You can go in there and really stock up. Thank you, Rural 2IC. Thank you, the Rural Report. Thank you very much.
Somebody wore the
and
shirt
then
to their
Amy
homes.
Jo Gavin, thank you very much. Sorry.
No,
what'd you say?
it's okay. That's right here. I thought that was
Oh, you
cool.
wore our shirt to your homeschool co-op yesterday. That's pretty cool. Thank you very much. But yeah, the store that I'm talking about, it's a grocery store, but they have some of the vegetables there, produce. Some of it's local.
And they sell it by sometimes the bushel.
You can buy it in bulk. You
yeah.
can go in there and they have pallets of, like a pallet of flour and a 50-pound bags, pallet of 50-pound bags of sugar, a pallet of 50-pound bags of oatmeal, that kind of stuff.
We get a lot of our bulk goods from the Amish.
Right.
Locally.
There's another store really close to us. I mean, not really close, but much closer
there's
than
a lot
other.
of Amish stores, though. It
Right.
doesn't have to be
Yeah,
that
most
one.
Amish communities, if you live near an Amish community, someone just said RS Coin. Oh, it's James Weber. Yeah. RS Coins is the name in
Mr. Weber.
In Kabul, RS Coin. But if you live near an Amish or a Mennonite, type of community, look for their own stores. A lot of times they have stores and they sell stuff in bulk, and we live near an Amish community, and that's where we buy also a lot of stuff. Someone asked about our T-shirts. If this video or any video that I put up, in the in the description, there's links, and there should be a link there. It says on an FBI list T-shirt, which is a link that shows all of our T-shirts. So
it needs to be changed. You should
I
be
should
like
change that because we have several
official Prepared Homestead
and these
gear.
are T-shirts that my wife and I designed them.
Those.
We come up with the design, and a couple of friends of ours that
they're attached to grafted in designs.
Yes.
But separate.
Yes.
It's like they do our shirts separately.
So
but
they make
have
them
really
for us,
cool designs on the other side
but
too.
we designed them ourselves. They're not super spectacular design.
No, they're pretty simple.
But it's just little sayings. So if you are interested, you're welcome to do that. But anyways.
Your FBI list one came out when they were...
Yeah, remember back when that list from the FBI, and it showed like all these patriotic symbols and, if you could be an extremist, patriot kind of thing. And so I came up with a T-shirt, and it says I'm on an FBI list because of this T-shirt, and it has like the Betsy Ross flag and the Don't Tread on Me flag, and all these kinds of patriotic flags from the past. Let's see. Yeah, someone's talking about a bulk store north of us, mass bulk. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Mennonite, Amish. I don't know about Quaker. We don't have any Quaker in the area, but a lot of the religious groups that kind of live that more agrarian lifestyle, a lot of times they have their own stores, so their people can buy stuff cheaper, but usually they're open to the public, so they can be a good place for you to stock up on things. Okay, wanted to show you some things I've put on my Twitter feed. For those of you that don't know, and I haven't tested it out yet, but Twitter is, the word on the street is that Twitter is going to try to become a competitor to YouTube. Mm-hmm. And so for certain accounts, they're allowing them to post videos up to an hour long, and you can make money off of them too. And they're more free speech than obviously YouTube is now that Elon Musk. And I'm not a fanboy of Elon Musk, but so I have been working on Twitter. Mostly I used Twitter in the past to just see what was going on out in the world, what people were talking about. But I'm trying to build up the Twitter page because I'm going to test it out and start posting some stuff over there, like some of my video content.
Quaker windows in Eldon.
Quaker windows in Eldon, but not food. But I'm going to try to start posting some content on Twitter, some of my full-length videos, and just see how it goes, because that's kind of just to see. Because I don't think that the YouTube thing is, it's not going to be a viable option for people like you and I for very much longer. It's already getting that way. So anyways, the point is been kind of doing more on Twitter. Reading Lord of the Rings.
You're doing more.
Yeah, Rumble also.
Too.
Rumble. I make special videos just for. We make special videos just for Rumble, and there is a link for that in the description below.
I do
also.
one a week, but don't you do more?
Usually I do one or two extra, but then we do like an hour-long fireside chat where we just talk. It's like sitting with us and talking. Thank you, Kinsey, very much. So we've got.
I saw this today.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings in 1984 could lead to right-wing extremism, according to a government report. That's interesting. This here, I'm not going to even show this.
Could lead to it.
I'm not going to show you guys this video because it's kind of graphic content. But to me, it's just more sign of how things are going in this world. Basically, this woman here, she's being rude. She's kind of tapping this guy in the back with her basket, and he walks over and picks this huge basket up and throws it right at her head. Anyways, and I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying that the world is just, it's losing it. So my theory, look at this. We've got Zelensky says he plans to meet Xi Jinping following China's peace proposal. we already heard the other day that Xi is meeting with Russia, which isn't too big of a deal, but they're meeting specifically because of the peace. And then Belarus, if you see down here, they're also going to meet with Xi Jinping. So Belarus, Zelensky, and Putin are going to be meeting, and who knows who else. We've also got someone in Florida died of a brain-eating amoeba after using tap water to clear their sinuses. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, there were actually, you remember the Gulf spill, the big oil spill?
Yeah.
During that time, there was like a huge outbreak of the brain-eating amoeba in the Gulf, in Florida especially. I mean, I think it was all over, but there were a lot of cases in Florida. So that's
Iran says
quite
that
interesting.
Yeah, that their missile can now strike ships within 1,000 miles, so they could hit our ships. I talked about that Friday, that they have a new long-range missile that can travel like 1,600 kilometers, about 100 to 150 more kilometers than would be necessary for them to strike Jerusalem. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, so what I want in my little theory here, these meetings with Xi Jinping is kind of centered around that. So
Sanctified Supply is.
Oh, Sanctified is in the house. There are other really good buddies.
There are other T-shirt friends.
There are
friends.
other T-shirt. Yeah, we have 2 T-shirt friends.
Yeah.
And they are other ones, and they're about the coolest people ever. Anyways, so we all know that. I think we all do. I think all of you get it. That there's people that kind of control things. I think most of you would accept the theories that a lot of the upper level decisions that are made in the world are probably coordinated by men behind the curtain in closed off rooms. You know, these secret societies, these, Freemasons and Illuminati.
The Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah, the Bilderbergs and, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people believe that, presidents are not elected, that they're chosen by these groups long before, and that wars are decided long before they ever happened. I have spoken with people that, have been in positions that they would kind of know things, and they say that they have seen plans for things, years in advance. Jen and Joe, awesome. Thank you guys. Welcome. And so anyways, my theory is that we know pretty certain, I think it's pretty safe to say that this whole Great Reset, that Linda Inlow, one of our other locals, is in the house too. Wanted to mention her. That China is kind of leading this Great Reset in a lot of ways. The World Economic Forum is, praised China and Xi. In fact, Klaus Schwab himself did an interview saying that China was the perfect blueprint for the Great Reset, and that other countries should follow after, all this kind of stuff. So if it's possible, if there's a possibility that they want this new world order, this Great Reset, to be run by China, then maybe all of this war and everything is setting up a position for China to step in and bring about all this peace, maybe, so that they can now be viewed as the top dog. I don't know. It's just something I've been throwing around in my head. Thank you, Stephen, very much.
Somebody said it's late to live. Just explain that we usually get on, I think, in the evening on Saturday evenings.
Yeah, on Saturday evenings is always when we do our live stream. So that's,
it's pretty normal for us, but thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's almost 7 o'clock here, and Moose Run Coffee is in the house. Some of the best coffee you can purchase. Go to mooseruncoffee.com.
It's
in
pretty
fact,
good.
It's what we've been drinking here lately. It is pretty amazing stuff. Organic. It's a small family business that they roasted.
They do small batches. It's organic. And they sell them in whole beans and ground already. Mm-hmm. And then they also sell it in bulk for preppers.
They have prepper options for if you want to buy like a 5-gallon bucket of it, like non-roasted beans to roast yourself. So anyway, so this theory, and I'm not saying that I completely believe this, but is there a possible chance that a lot of this stuff that we're seeing happen is to set China up in a position that they can save the day. I mean, it's obvious America certainly isn't doing it. For the first time in my lifetime, and I'm now 45, and the first time that I can think of in any American history, and I'm not saying America has always been the good guys. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in the
narrative paints us.
Yeah, the narrative usually is that we kind of come to save the day, you know.
That we're this beacon of hope and
we finally, you know, when we finally step in and we finally do the right thing, we finally try to bring about peace. Even though the truth is we start a lot of conflict.
I mentioned the prepper buckets, sanctified.
Yep.
Yeah. They have big buckets.
Yeah, they have big buckets of unroasted beans at Moose Run Coffee. I feel like we're all over the place tonight.
I know. It's because the chat is. So we're just following and you're trying to have a trained thought, like a one train of thought, and then
it bothers people that we interrupt each other all the time. Usually they're complaining about me doing it, but the other day someone commented at you. And I get it, but that's just kind of how we go back and forth.
It's not just that. It's I'm going to have to scroll back up and I'll forget who said what.
It doesn't bother me. This is just...
Yeah, you're in our life right now.
Yeah.
We get excited.
Yeah. And we both kind of have thoughts to get across.
But your thought is really important. I'm just trying not to neglect our friends here. So.
That's fine. How long can you store green coffee beans? Everything I have researched that if you store it properly, like you would any other bean, like I always use an example, pinto bean, that it will store about the same length of a pinto bean, unroasted, sealed in Mylar kind of thing. So anyway,
see, married couples do that. My husband and I do constantly.
Yep.
This is what happens.
But seriously, this China thing, are we seeing a scenario being set up that China could come in? Look at what they're doing with their currency. They're trying to do this BRICS. They're leading up this BRICS currency, and it's supposed to be a gold back. So we have America's currency that's been the global reserve, the petrodollar. Oh, and Terry, there's another friend of ours, Terry Lynn, is in here.
That they love us. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, and so our currency is starting to slip. It used to be the British pound, and then it was the American dollar. And now because of debt and mishandling and everything, our currency is fading away. And then China is working on this gold-backed new type of currency that involves several other countries. So are we, and someone says a 100-year cycle. That's close to what we would be
Somebody
at as a 100-year cycle. Yeah, 50, 100 years.
Every 80 years,
every
50
80 years,
30 years,
yes.
100 years. Every so often.
Yeah, there is a cycle, folks. There's a video. I know there's going to be people that remember it. I cannot remember the guy's name in his video, but you can leave it in the comments. He made a video a few months back. He's an author, and he talked about the rise and fall of empires. And there's nice little graphics in the video. It's a book that he wrote, and it's a good one to watch. And you see, going back several hundred years, that there's been a very consistent cycle of a nation getting weak, the next nation coming up that's getting stronger. They end up in a big war. Then that one takes over, and they rise, and they expand their education systems. They expand their, development, technology and stuff. And then they get to a pinnacle point that they've done all this stuff. Ray Dalio, yes, that someone's just commented that you're correct. Ray Dalio is so you can search him on YouTube and find his video. And then once they reach that pinnacle, they've kind of done all the stuff that they're going to do, right? And so they start, living this lavish, comfortable life. So we went from the greatest generation and the boomers where they were, doing all this stuff to, 30 years for coffee storage if green coffee, if it's stored properly. But anyways, so we have reached that pinnacle a long time ago, probably in the 70s, I would guess. And we've been slowly going down the other side to where we're here now. We're throwing grocery baskets at old women's heads, and we're teaching our children to, have their bodies mutilated and to be a different gender every day. And we're telling the world that, God is transgender and, all these absolute ridiculous things, which really is a sign of the collapse of our civilization. So I think it's pretty safe to say that there's a new civilization that's going to be taking over soon, eventually.
I could hear that. Can you hear him drinking?
It's sparkling water. I have a thing for sparkling water.
Especially that one.
Yeah, the Topo Chico.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I was like not wanting to mention it because people feel obligated.
Yes, that you don't have to send me any Topo Chico. A couple people did that one time. You don't have to send me Topo Chico, but I do like that stuff. Anyways, the point is that we're not in the middle of that cycle anymore. We're at the tail end. If you start looking, Ray Dalio's video, he lays it out quite well, and he shows how what to look for as the civilization is collapsing and another one takes over. And it doesn't mean that civilization goes away. It could.
Elon Musk was talking about this recently.
Yeah, it could go away. But the British Empire was once the ruler of the world. And then they lost their spot in number one, and we took over. Okay? And they're still around.
But there's an effort to make it all one, right? Like
right. The Spanish Empire was number one once, and they're still around. They're just not the top dog anymore. And so America will most likely still be around, but it'll be different. Very, very, very different. And this time around, it seems that they're wanting to... Yeah, someone says ever since we came off the gold standard. That's probably when our civilization really started collapsing and going downhill. I was just reading about
that recently again.
That was probably the pinnacle of it. And so we're this time around, it could be very different because they're really, really, really dedicated and serious about this one world government stuff. The one world religion is already happening. Just this last week was the dedication of the Abrahamic Family Center, I think.
Talked about that on a Rumble.
Yeah, talked about that on the Rumble video we did, where they've brought together the Pope, one of the top Muslim imams, and one of the top Jewish rabbis, and they're creating this, they're not saying they're creating a one world religion, but that's kind of what they're doing, just like one world government. And all this kind of stuff. So we're seeing this happen, and I mean we're watching the downfall of America, whether you like it or not. I made a video the other day talking about the weakness of America, and man, I got some hate mail. Every time I say America's weak, people just tear me apart.
But the issue is, if you can't criticize your own people and your own government and your own friends, even, like if we can't point things out that need to be improved, then you're stagnant.
Right.
You're just going to sit in it.
And you're welcome to have an opinion that America is not weak.
Right now, though, the picture is very obviously...
I get it. There's a lot of good people in America. In fact, there's probably more good people in America than bad people.
Right? Like,
right.
The
Shalom, Sherry. Sherry is in the house.
Hi, Sherry.
Sherry and her husband are some of our most favorite people on the whole planet.
But I think that if you're presenting a certain way and other governments are presenting the way we used to, an opposite way, and the appearance, right? There's an appearance of weakness. Yeah. At the very least.
It's like... And I've talked to some of my military friends the other day, and I've said this on video before. Our military isn't necessarily weak. There's a lot of we're the most highly trained, most capable, most technological military in the world. And I understand they've been letting in a lot of less than capable people. But even if we are still the most technologically advanced and most capable and strongest military in the world, if our leadership is weak, then we have a weak military.
There's a perceived weakness for the entire country worldwide, globally.
And the top brass of our military are very weak. I mean, I don't know how anyone could argue that statement.
You could pull up the little meme, right, that everybody's been passing around. It might be a little inappropriate.
I don't know.
I'm sure you've seen it, but with the way that they're dressed, there's furries and pretty boys,
the officers wearing animal masks and stuff like that. But the point is that America is getting weak. We've been getting weak for a long time. We've walked away from this idea of being the city on the hillside. We've walked away from this concept of taking the moral high ground, of being a godly nation. I understand. We've never been a real godly nation, but we at least
there was an appearance, right? There was a perceived.
It was this appearance
openly,
that America was a Christian nation,
right?
And that
like
that everyone
openly we at least said we were, and we tried to behave on the surface like we were, and now we are not saying that, and we're openly not.
Yeah, we're openly cursing God. I mean, it's so. Yeah.
Weak or compromised. Is there a difference? I mean, when you are weak, aren't you compromised?
Yeah.
And if you're compromised, you're weak.
Yeah, we have a very compromised government also, I believe. Very much.
Corrupt.
Corrupt, compromised, weak. Just
for
all
a long
of it.
time now.
So, whether or not this theory of China being the ones that take over, I've talked to one person that is a close friend that he used to work in a line of work that they make movies about. I'm not going to tell you any more details, but very high level kind of stuff that he had done in the past. And he agreed with me. He said that he thinks that China, they are setting themselves up, and probably these World Economic Forum, rulers around the world are setting it up that China's going to be the next.
Because, like you said earlier, in case you just got here, or in case you missed it, like you said earlier, WEF has praised China openly for how they're kind of the gold standard, and how everything should be modeled after that. So it kind of looks like it's going that way.
Yep. Can you hear that in the microphones? Hold on a second. Everybody be quiet. That's our coyotes. Coyotes, and our dogs are barking at them.
Unless
I don't know if anyone can hear that. If you can, say something.
When Kamala said it, when she called them coyotes.
Yeah, they're pretty close. They've stopped.
Our big boys are.
Yeah, we have some very large Pyrenees, so we're not too worried about
They're
it.
the
but
best.
They were pretty close there. I could hear them through the microphone. Anyways,
it sounded like an alarm at first.
The coyotes will come to the edge of the property, and they know not to step 1 foot inside the property because the dogs will destroy them.
Easy times, weak men, somebody said.
Yeah, we've created too easy a time in our world and in our country. And we've created weak men.
Your grandparents taught you, and I know mine did too, idle hands, right?
Right.
It's the devil's workshop.
Yep.
It's too much time to figure out excuses and reasons to be mad at the world or,
It is. And, there's not really anything you and I can do about it. I mean, I don't want to sound all negative, but I don't know that there's anything that the average American can do about it. You can try voting. I'm not going to tell you it's not going to work, but I don't want to,
You can pray.
You can pray, and you can.
I mean, that's truly something you can do. You can do your best to set yourself up to write it out and see how things settle.
Right. But I think that we just have to just be getting ourselves ready. Because Americans, we have no idea. There's no one alive in America that has any concept what it would be like, even if America still exists, but we're just not the top of the world. And I think that alone is going to be very devastating. And I think that there's a lot of countries out there. We were talking about this today or yesterday or something. At what point all these countries that are, China, North Korea, Iran, and a few others, Russia, a few others, that would like to see America fall. At what point do they say, you know what? If we all just jump in at once, they can't defend themselves against everyone.
I was just saying that if I were one of those people, those nations, right? I would be
if North Korea just said, you know what? We're just going to invade South Korea. We're just doing it.
Somebody said that earlier. We can't do North Korea, China, Russia, all of these other.
Iran just said, you know what? We're going on.
You can't do it all. We're not.
Right. And that may end up being how it works out. I don't know.
Somebody said put on the full armor.
Absolutely.
Of God. And I think that's a valid thing that you can do. But I mean, really, you say there's nothing you can do. I think what you mean is there's nothing you can do to stop this.
Right. There's
so much
nothing you can do to
momentum.
stop it. There's nothing you can do to say, okay, Biden, okay, Putin, I don't think
But
there's
you
anything
can
we can do to stop that.
Ready
But
yourself,
we can,
prepare
yeah.
yourself
Oh,
for
absolutely.
the hardest probably time of your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
And your children's lives. I mean,
yep.
I was talking to one of my daughters today about how I remember when we were young, like in public school, like hiding under desks, because it was during the Cold War. So like potential bomb threats and nuclear, type stuff. And I was like, your generation didn't ever, it's like that there's like a whole gap there. Like they just don't know what it's like to be, I don't know, that kind of, under that kind of pressure, I guess.
Right.
And
danger.
so I was saying, I just feel like it's like everything's a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Like everything is like, it's no big deal. Y'all are just making this up because they they never saw it. They never saw that kind of stuff. I was explaining to her about the Cuban Missile Crisis and I mean, even before us, but like all the way through our childhood. But then our children have had the blessing.
Right. Because even the Gulf Wars, Iraq, Afghanistan and stuff.
That was when we were children too.
Right. But it wasn't really affecting Americans. I'm not saying that people obviously didn't go off to war and they did
and they were
certainly
too young
died.
for 9/11.
But it wasn't,
they didn't remember that.
Yeah, most of the younger generations don't remember 9/11 much or at all. And the other wars we've been in, they weren't really affecting us, our way of life. It's like
Thank you, Miss Sue.
I was saying the other day in my Patreon video, I said, I was talking about all these the mental illness that's going on, the epidemic, with all these different genders and craziness and stuff. And people,
I'm sorry. Somebody said, I remember doing that too, like hiding a desk was ever going to do anything.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I can say that now, but like at the time, what else were we going to do? Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's funny.
Just all of this craziness and these people that, they become hyper offended over everything. And I think what it is, part of it anyways, is because their life has been so easy. They've never had any real adversity in their life. And so they're bored. They're finding something to complain about. They're finding something to make up that gives them this sense that there's a danger out there when for most people in America, there isn't a danger. But that's gonna happen. Change that's gonna change, and things are going to get more dangerous for people. They already are. The inner cities, are becoming very dangerous. But
Sherry says if it's not happening right in their own backyard, some people don't seem to take notice.
Exactly.
I think especially though, I mean, our generation, maybe some. I mean, I see it, complacency and stuff. But this next generation, because of that, like, there's just no awareness about like those hard times before or scary times. I say scary, but like what's going to happen? There was none of that,
Yeah. And so it's going to, those people are going to have a rude awakening because we can't keep this up as a nation. Our currency, our financial system, us being in, $32 trillion in debt, we can't keep it up. We just can't. We can't keep up all of this woke ideology. It's this destruction of the family unit. We can't keep it up. It's not sustainable. None of this is sustainable. And so at some point,
that's a whole soapbox I could get on and preach.
Yeah, at some point it's going to have to come down. And so
I think the destruction of the family is, I think it could be easily argued that that's the core, because grassroots is where stuff starts. Right. And if you destroy that, you've destroyed all the momentum and potential. Like it's cling to your morals and values and your family.
And just, that's why I've been really encouraging people to kind of turn a lot of your focus inward. Your life, your family's life. Build those walls, like someone said in the beginning, circle the wagons. It's time to be circling the wagons.
And to fortify? That's what you mean by building those walls?
Yeah, building the walls, circle the wagons, bringing in the remnant. And I know that there's a biblical term for remnant, and that's kind of what I mean, but I'm also I'm using that very liberally, and I don't mean to be, you know, rude about it or anything. But, you know, those of us that are of like mind, it's time to start, you know, pulling them together and working together. And kids are given so much distraction. Yeah, that's right. Bass Family says that kids are given so much distraction via agendas and social media that they can't even comprehend what is actually going on. That's correct, because
it's not just
everything
children,
is
but it's definitely
young
targeting
people,
them.
right? And it's just
right.
it's like a video game, like she said. It's like these movies where it's just rapid changing scenes constantly, something different, and it creates this very short attention span. You know, last week everyone was, you know, going nuts online because of Ohio and the train derailment. And now, not too many people are talking about it.
Somebody says the destruction of the family and religion, but I think it could be argued that the family structure is like the most precious thing that he designed here. Like,
to me, it's one and the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can have, I don't know that you could have religion without a family structure, without a solid family structure. I don't know. I've not thought about it too long, but to me, it just makes sense. So we have to be serious about. I don't know how to put this into words. It's something it's been on my mind and my heart for a while. Of think of what your perception is of tribal cultures.
What's going on?
Oh, well, maybe we could. There is a lot of hatred going on. That's the thing. We talked about that last week or week before in our Rumble video of how our generation, wasn't a lot of. There was. Don't get me wrong. There was racism and anti-Semitism and things like that, but most people got along and people laughed about,
But we were also like left alone and
right.
Like,
and nowadays everyone is so
know.
hyper focused on being offended that I think it's causing people to become. I think our society is causing people to become more racist and more anti-Semitic.
And it starts somewhere, and I think social media is the biggest thing that has helped these efforts to separate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knows who that first TikTok started and how it went viral, right? Like about the left versus the right and the blue versus the red and all the colors that, are standard.
Right.
What is it? Not Marxism, right? Like,
well, it's creating
the colors,
this division.
they're blocked
right.
and stuff, and
right.
then they label it.
I think that's kind of part of an MK Ultra stuff.
And that's the constant like barrage of traumatic events over and over.
Mm-hmm.
We remember about a year ago we were like, or I think it was in 2020, we talked about this where it was like there was a comic and the young woman said, I eat drama for breakfast. Like every day I wake up and there's something else.
Right.
And that's part of it too. Like it's just you're getting
Everything's
tired.
traumatic.
Everybody's worn out. Everybody's distracted.
Yep. It's wearing you down. I've talked about that. Everyone's adrenal levels are probably all off the charts because of there's always something. But think of tribes. Think of what you understand and know about tribal people.
Have you heard of that?
And no, there's a no.
You talk about when you're done.
Yeah, I'll talk about that when I'm done. Anyways, that how tribal people they focused on their tribe. Yes, things went on outside the tribe, but their daily lives were dedicated to the survival of their tribe, of each other. And so that's not been an American concept for a very long time. I mean, there's been this concept of me,
mm-hmm.
and then, enjoying.
I suffer more than you.
Right, but enjoying the world.
Oh yeah,
we're a globalist
but then there's
country,
bragging rights for like all the worst things that you could like.
Right, we don't know each other. We're only focused on ourselves, but we're all over the world. Whether it's in our TV or in our phones, or we're shopping. We're focused on this. We're a globalist people. Not talking politically globalist. We're just an international kind of people.
Well,
and
it's a global culture,
right? It's a global culture. And
we
so
talked about this like years ago, just a couple years ago, like how does the pink hair crazy and those people, you know, the
wokes.
How do they end up in small towns and in families that are so conservative?
Right, because
in our high schools or middle schools,
because the internet, you can see
that's it.
all ideas from all over the world all
There's
at once.
a culture
when we grew up, when a lot of you grew up, you didn't have access to what some crazy idea that someone was coming up with in New York or San Francisco or Portland, Oregon, or Seattle or whatever. You only knew what went around in your community, maybe your state. And so, if you went to where I grew up, everyone they were farmer kids and they dressed
wore
that way.
Different clothes.
And if you went to the inner city, they looked like they were inner city kids and listened to inner city music. Nowadays, it's this huge multicultural salad bowl.
Meaning, like, there's no pressure to follow rules. That the moral fiber of like our country is slowly being it's totally just being destroyed.
Right. And so when I say bring it back home, it's time to, and I don't want to sound like I'm want to isolate us from other people. I'm just saying that we need to be focusing on our tribe, on our people, us, and what we can do to increase our survival. Here, hold it. You go hit the wrong button. You gotta hold it and then roll it up.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah. But if you push that button, it'll delete it. Like that. There you go.
Okay.
Anyways, teaching you how to use the Trackball Mouse.
Okay. So put it on there.
Yeah, and then you have to roll it with this.
You moved it. I'm going to get to use Sanctified Supply. I saw a longer comment from them, so I just wanted to see.
There you go.
And then somebody's talking about twin arrows, so I was trying to see.
But the point is that we need to be bringing it back home, focusing on our tribe, which your tribe may just be you and your wife. Maybe you and your wife and your kids. Maybe you and your wife and, your best friends, or maybe you have a church group or a fellowship group or something like that, and I would encourage you to really be focusing on that, because that's in the end that's the people that's going to be there for you. Mm-hmm. That's where it's at. You're not gonna have your whole town and your whole county and your state and your government that's really going to be there for you. It's going to be
people who live near you,
the people around you,
and your family,
yep.
Right? What they said, I don't know which one it is, but it's sanctified. Mm-hmm. So, the studies that they're talking about out there that talk about how traumatic events happen and the media reports on it. Mm-hmm. More people who see the media, it increases the amount of those specific traumatic events, and that goes hand in hand with the studies that you and I have talked about with like the fast and rapid media,
right?
Like the anime and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Like the brains are being
it's
like mush.
It's like I think I mentioned this at one point, and before I say anything, Twin Arrows Survival says their family needs prayers. Yeah. So we don't even need to know what that means. But there's some prayer warriors in the group. So Twin Arrows Survival said his family needs prayers. His or her family needs prayers. I remember a study years ago where, hit the mic, where they took brain scans of people that watched, old movies, like old black and whites, or they read a book, or they watched a play, and then they took brain scans of people that played video games. It was children, I believe. Or watched these newer movies, where like a Marvel movie where everything's flash and CG and the scene changes constantly. If you watch an old movie, old black and white or something, it may be the same scene for several minutes. Whereas now it's almost like a strobe light. It's every few seconds it's a different scene. So anyways,
it made you use the same parts of your brain that the play did, or like that a book did.
Right. So they determined that watching one of these old movies, you use the same parts of your brain as what you did when you read a book. But when you watch these newer movies and when you do this, play video games where there's just constant changing images, it can actually induce, a certain level of brain damage. It's actually harmful for your brain. It's different parts of the brain are being used and overworked. And I think that's part of this whole. That's what I've said this for years. You know, a lot of people talk about MK Ultra, which is definitely a thing, I believe. But
that's what happened.
But I believe that MK Ultra kind of stuff, tactics have been happening to everybody when it comes to TV and movies and things like that. Do what now?
Go West says that he said his ex-wife and mother of his children.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
so sorry.
Folks, just if you can stop right now and just say a prayer. Twin Oaks Survival said that, and this is one
terrible.
of our listeners. His ex-wife
and mother of his
and
children.
the mother of his children committed suicide. So the mother of those children is gone. So definitely needs some prayer in that family right now. Those children's lost their mother, and that is very, very tragic. So folks, we do a prayer circle every night before we all go to bed, and we'll definitely remember you in our prayer circle or with our kids and stuff. But yeah, I think that we're seeing the long-term repercussions of our society, of how things, and maybe it has really been orchestrated all this time. A lot of people believe it, and I think there's a lot of evidence.
Believe.
Yeah, I'm on
without going, too far.
Right.
I believe.
I'm probably 75% believe that, 90% maybe. I don't know. I think so. It probably has, and how much so of our society has been orchestrated, I don't know. But we're definitely
said
seeing
that, like, all of the news and the trauma and having to relive this, and then all the movies, the quick and all that it causes adrenal fatigue or exhaustion.
Adrenal fatigue,
and so you've got cortisol just dumping all the time.
Right.
And nobody knows how to cope or deal with that.
Yeah.
And it's not even a medical thing.
And I think that's why, when I mentioned the start of the video, which I didn't show the video if you weren't
so
here.
Sad.
I didn't show you. It's kind of graphic. But it's this video. They look like they're in a Costco or a Sam's Club, one of those type of places. And this guy's standing in line, and there's this lady behind him, and she's kind of tapping him like this with her basket. Why? I don't know. Maybe she's just a mean person, but she's tapping him in the back. And he doesn't say anything. He walks over, he grabs a basket, lifts it up over his head, and throws it right at her head. And I don't know if she lived. If not, I'm sure she was seriously injured. But we're seeing this kind of stuff happen all the time. And I think between sprayed chemicals, injected chemicals in our food, the way our education system is,
depletion of soil,
and then this
and then cadmium,
the imagery
and
the
stuff
metals that we're seeing. I think, and then of course how we parent.
And don't forget fluoride.
I said in the waters that we're taking in, so that kind of includes that. I think we're seeing and
then the forever chemicals that are in psychotropic drugs that we're seeing recycled in the water system. So how many people are?
Man, I don't know. Look at some of the studies on water and how many parts per million of things like estrogen and Xanax and cocaine and things like that are in, especially the petrochemical type of drugs. They're in all the water. They're everywhere, and so I think we're seeing the long-term results of that with a society that is completely breaking down. And America's society, while a lot of these things are global, not all of them are. And they're much more here. I mean, look at a bottle of Coca-Cola ingredients here in the United States versus England, or look at a box of oatmeal here in the United States versus or a Big Mac or
the big V
ingredients
too. If you just look at the V's, the thingies that you do,
do your
stuff
thing,
thing.
This
if
stuff.
you look at that, even they're so different.
Yeah.
I mean. And it's not just, it's like in the bread, it's the milk, it's everything.
Yeah. And it's in a lot more here in America than anywhere else.
Which it begs the question, why?
To subdue us and to dumb us down and to make us easier cattle to control. There was a video, I've mentioned it before, probably 10, 15 years ago. You can still find it on YouTube by Stefan Molyneux. Called, I think, The Human Farm or Human Cattle or whatever. And watch that. It's, I don't know, a 20-minute video.
It's a good one.
It'll explain a lot. It'll explain a lot about how the world works. And so that's why, in the end, I think the best thing that we can do is just to focus inward, focus on ourselves.
Someone says people are losing it.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
they are.
And
there
I think it's only going to get worse because, like, if product is limited and like things are limited, or like people feel more threatened, or not taxes, but inflation.
Right.
You know, that if the dollar does, like, when it does, like, that stuff is going to like cause some.
Think of what a lot of these people are going to do when the lights go out, when the pharmacies aren't working anymore, when the grocery stores aren't working, when their cell phones are shut off. Yeah, it's going to get bad. And so that's why we need to draw close to God. Number one thing, most important thing, get your Bibles open, get on your knees in prayer, draw as close to God as you possibly can, because in the end, this is also spiritual warfare. And then from there, draw your family close to you. Come up with your plans of how to protect them. And then your community, the people, your tribe, the people that are in your tribe. Because in the end, that's the only people that are really gonna be there for you when all this starts to fall apart.
And then pray for everybody else in the body. I mean, that's all you can tangibly or practically do for people outside if there is a grid failure or the dollar is crashing, or, you know, these big major catastrophic events.
And for people that may think that I'm being very dramatic, that this kind of stuff won't happen, you should take a few days off from work and drive to the nearest large inner city and just spend the day or two there. You know, St. Louis, Kansas City, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Chicago, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, any big city on the eastern seaboard, on the western seaboard, any of them, and go into the inner city and just kind of hang out, because those places are already almost as bad as what I've just described to you. Seriously, they are. They're almost that bad. So it's not going to take too much longer for those places to already be that bad. That's why we have to keep focusing on ourselves, not ourselves, but ourselves spiritual.
We talked a little bit about that family. Too on our Rumble this week.
We kind of go all over the board. It's kind of like this, but it's even more. And then we don't filter ourselves. Now, I'm not saying like using vulgar words or anything. We don't, you know.
No.
We call it like
I said that. I can say what I want.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you can't. We don't cuss. We're not going to say that.
I have a harder time filtering. Like, even as I'm speaking, I'm like, am I allowed to say that? Yep. Like, I don't know. He knows.
Yep.
He's the one that bears the strike responsibility if it occurs. Mm-hmm. So.
But anyways, we're at about our 1 hour.
This woman with an opinion.
Yeah. I think we're probably going to wrap it up soon. Are we?
I don't know. What's up to you? Like, yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah. Remember Twin Oaks survival in your prayers.
Please.
Him and his family, his children. He's the one that his ex-wife, who is the mother of his children, committed suicide. And so that family need your prayers. And then I want to also get off, because I think that there's a couple other prepper channels that are starting their live streams. And so I don't want to take it all up, because I know a lot of you folks like to watch different ones. I think it's Pinball, maybe Bear Independent. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? There's a few of them. And so we're going to get off here so that you guys can go watch these other, because spread the love around, right?
He says that his children wanted to say thank you for the prayers.
Awesome.
So they're listening and they know, I'm assuming. So, bless this family with just as many prayers as you can. A personal request for all of you tonight to be praying for this family that's had this loss in their life. They need to be lifted up. The daughter's name is Harley, and son's name is Alan. So Harley and Alan, they lost their mother, and so please pray for these children. They definitely need it. Real quick before we go, somebody said these kids today think French fries grow on trees. But y'all are laughing, but I watched a video the other night.
It's true, actually.
Like, you need to, if you haven't seen these videos, there are a couple of people who go around and ask young college students questions, and it would blow your mind how little people know. Like, my young children know more in these questions. And I know that some of it is kind of set up to look a little shocking. Like, they don't share the ones that know, but the fact that there are so many that don't is problematic and concerning also. Yeah. So, but yeah, the brown cow and, you know, why do we celebrate the 4th of July? Who did we win our independence from? Those kinds of questions. Yeah, they don't know.
They have no clue. They have no clue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pray for this family with this loss tonight. Harley and Alan, I believe is the name.
Alan. Mm-hmm.
Pray for those children and focus. And the father that his ex-wife, you know, they just need some prayer. And then also just hug your children, hug your family, and start figuring out ways that you can become more kind of building those walls around them, because those times are getting very close, folks. All right, folks. Well, thank you all tonight.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep. You all are amazing, and you're a blessing to us, and enjoy kind of having a talk with you. But also go check us out on Rumble. We've been putting up some really good content over there, I think. So
I think it's okay.
I think it's good. Chats. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, it's pretty good.
You're like, oh, is that not how it shows up?
No.
You're actually in it.
No, I'm in the screen. See?
Oh, okay. I thought, oh no, half
on my end of the screen, my face
here
is blocked, so it's okay. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.